Well, the season is almost over, Vintage Cube is almost gone, and I'm trying to cram as many drafts as I can in that meantime. So we're gonna cram one right now. And we are the first person in the queue. Last draft that I put up is pretty interesting. It's a pretty solid deck that I was very happy with, and I think you should definitely take a look. I also just recently released all of the limited set review for Dominaria United, so if that's something you're interested in watching, you can find that on my channel. It's in a playlist, super duper easy to find. But it looks like this pod is going to crack any second now, so I'll just give it a pause and bring you right back in when we get the first pick. Okay, so we jump right back in, and that's a first pick Black Lotus. We had a draft that went pretty awful last night that I didn't release, where I also got a Black Lotus. It was in pack 3, but it went pretty poorly. It went about as miserable as you can imagine. This time, I think we're going to make it right. See if we can turn this Lotus into an easy win. So, the more fair your deck, the less good Black Lotus is. It's still a good card in fair decks, like, it's fine if you want to play like a turn 1 questing beast or something, but you want to be doing as much broken shit as you can with this card. Playing out fair things is just going to get blown out by other fair things. Now we have Consecrated Sphinx, which is, I'm going to tell you, a wonderful card to play off of a Black Lotus. Grizzlebrand, which is going to bring us closer towards the Reanimator package. If we take the Sphinx, which is what I'm leaning towards, we're passing the Grizzlebrand and a Dauthi Voidwalker and a Chain Lightning. So the archetypes we're passing on are artifacts with the Karn and Signet, Reanimator with the Grizzlebrand and Dauthi Voidwalker, and I guess to a lesser extent the Ulamog, and Mono Red. Yeah, we'll take it anyway. Jace. Jace is a pretty high quality card. It's either that or Watery Grave. The Dauthi Voidwalker's not coming back, almost guaranteed. Sun Titan can get back a Black Lotus. That certainly is a solid combo, but I think we're going to go with the... It's either Watery Grave or Jace, if you ask me. I think I'm on Jace. Now we have Liliana, Vampiric Tutor, Charter Course, Mana Leak. Well, let it never be said that I don't want to take a Mana Leak. Trinket Mage, which can go get us a Black Lotus. Or we have Teferi, which is pretty good. We're not guaranteed to have the Black Lotus as, like, actually in our deck when we use Trinket Mage. So here I think I'm going to take the Teferi, Baral, Glorybringer, Flickerwisp, Exhume, and Grief. I do really like Grief. If we end up in blue-black, that card's amazing. There's also an Exhume, and we did pass a Grizzlebrand, so I think I'm going to take the Exhume here. 0% chance the Grizzlebrand comes back, but like, we can dream, right? Besides, this does give us outs towards one of the better decks in the format, and we already have one way to loot. So I'm pretty happy so far. Okay. Inquisition. Trop. Yeah, I think I'm just on Inquisition here. Feels pretty good to have some kind of hand disruption to back up a counterspell and a good game plan like Reanimator. Now we did pass up on that Watery Grave in favor of Jace, but there's more than just Watery Grave for fixing. And you know, if you have enough card draw, you kind of already have your fixing anyway, so... Alright, we have Sower, Silent Clearing, and some white cards. Those are good white cards, but I think we're a little far away from there. I do like Sower. Sower is good. I'm not really playing any of those. Sphinx is a sideboard card against red-green, which is not really a common color combination. It's either that or like Bloodghast or something. Yeah, I guess we'll take the Miser Sphinx from the sideboard. Dolphy Voidwalker comes back? That has no business being in the pack. Cabal Ritual or Terastodon? Well, as much as Cabal Ritual probably is okay, I think I'm just going to take the Terastodon. Kogla Witherbloom Command? Is there a chance that we end up like mising our way into some kind of black-green? Augur of Autumn, Omnath. We're not really playing either of these cards. Guess we'll take this one and put it in the sideboard. Flicker Wisp. Obnixilis. Interesting. So it's weird, we got back the Voidwalker, we got back the Terastodon, but we also got some random white cards just passed around to us for no reason. And now we have a Force of Negation, and a Channel, and a Crater Hoof. Interesting stuff. Well, it's not Palinchron. I don't think it's Crypt Breaker. And Ancient Tomb might not really be the order of the day either. So maybe it is just Force. Force is a good card. Yeah, we'll take it. It's a bit of a miss. Not really what we're looking for, but it is fine. Reanimate. Time Warp, Memory Deluge. Well, another Reanimate spell is pretty solid. Damnation isn't bad. We might get it back though. We have Badlands, Bloodchief's Thirst, Imperial Seal. I do like Bloodchief's Thirst as removal. I don't think it's Imperial Seal. We'll just take the Thirst. We have Dark Ritual, Brain Freeze, Shriekmaw. Well, I don't think it's the Smokestack or the Wooded Foothills. I don't really think Prime Time is the kind of reanimation target we're looking for. Not Prime Time, Inferno Titan. Could it be Dark Ritual? We do have... Well, we don't have Entomb yet. We'll just take the Shriekmaw. Probably. Gilded Drake. I've been pretty impressed with that card. Yeah, we'll take it. Coercive Portal. I keep getting this Coercive Portal, it always feels like it comes to me, and every time I play it, I'm happy. Emrakul? As well as Splinter Twin and Kiki-Jiki in the same pack. Well, unfortunately for us, both of our Reanimate spells are Sorcery Speed, so we can't really do Emrakul stuff, but we can take a Dark Slick Shores, just to make our mana actually playable. Put the Shriekmaw at the 2-drop slot where it belongs. Right now the Teferi's not making it. It might get there, but right now our mana's just not good enough. Barely good enough for what we do have. It's not good enough for what we do have. It's a long, rainy day over here right now. Don't usually get this much rain over here, but we do today. Okay, Necromancy, Xander's Lounge, and Chupacabra. Well, we already have the Reanimate, and we already have Exhume, and Xander's Lounge is an island swamp. So I think we all know what that means. Just taking the Xander's Lounge. Crypt Breaker comes back. It is a discard outlet. Other than that, there's Fiery Islet. We're not really playing that though. There's a damnation. And a memory jar. So memory jar does discard your hand at the end. Do we just take the damnation or do we take the time warp or the memory jar? I think we take the damnation. We're very far away from Field of the Dead, but all these big dumb green cards aren't doing anything either. We'll just take this for the sideboard, not play it. Kolagon's Command. There is a world where we end up playing this. I don't think it's this one, but you never know. Burst Lightning Giver Runes Toski. Pretty wild that we're seeing these mono red, mono white cards going around. I don't want to play against Giver, and I don't think we're splashing the Burst Lightning. Avalanche Riders, Circle of Dream Druid. Certainly interesting that we're seeing this stuff. What's our last card? Elspeth. Jeez. Okay, so we have Phantasmal Image, Satoru Omezawa, Misty Rainforest, which gets us our land, Cryptic Command. It's a pretty tough call. I think we take the Misty. Pretty unfortunate. But I think our mana is what's really lacking here. I don't think the power level necessarily is. We could use a better reanimate target, but I think for now, like, we need to have a playable deck at the end. Preordain, Demonic Tutor, Custody Lich. I've been not horribly disappointed with Custody Lich, but not very, very happy. The biggest problem is we're not really like a creature deck, so it's not that good for us. I think it's Preordain or Demonic Tutor, and I think I'm more interested in the Preordain here. We do have Black Lotus and all, but like, yeah, I think we just take the Preordain. A lot of stuff at 1 to do. Zagoth Triome is another Swamp Island. We also have Una's Prowler and Bone Shards. I think it is a pretty clear Bone Shards here. Just another really solid discard outlet. Now we have Bone Shards, Crypt Breaker, Jace Friend's Prodigy, and that's it. Not looking awful. We do need like one good reanimate target now. Grave Titan is okay. Proving Grounds, not really what we're looking for. Woodfall Primus is also just okay. It is relatively difficult to deal with the Woodfall Primus. It'd just be Gravy Tea? Or Treasure Cruise? Now I'll take the Woodfall. Round out the package a little bit. Getting the Entomb would be nice here, but I think it's okay. Seems like somebody at the table is just letting the picks go. Bitter Blossom, Opposition, Murderous Rider, Makeshift Mannequin. Well, I do like Bitter Blossom. It's a little bit slow, very fair, that's for sure. Murderous Rider is just a removal spell. Also Git Probe. We'll take the Murderous Rider. I've been happy with it. Not like overjoyed, but it's definitely gotten me out of tight spots. And then the lifelink on the other half of it has been pretty good. Corpse Dance. Damn. Unfortunate that we see the makeshift mannequin in the corpse dance after passing up on the Emrakul. And here it's just Sheldock or Toxic Deluge. We already have one Wrath though. I think we just take the Sheldock Isle. Just a little cheeky land. But yeah, seems like somebody at the table is just not doing anything. No, this person's going pretty slow. Collective Brutality or Ancestral Vision. Collective Brutality is a good source of card advantage since we get both hand disruption as well as removal. Ancestral Vision is kind of slow. I haven't been very impressed with the Ancestral Vision, to be honest. Well, now we have Shallow Grave, comes back. Kaito. Oh wait, no, we haven't seen this pack. It wasn't Kaito, it was the other one, Satoru. So... yeah, the Emrakul was last pack, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll take the Kaito. I can think of worse cards. It does loot for us, so... yeah, was this the pack with the Emrakul in it? Yeah, it was, because Satoru was in it. Luris. Well, what do we have in the grave for 2 that we can play? Dothy Voidwalker. Jace. Cryptbreaker. Not a whole lot. Takenuma or Satoru. We'll put the Satoru in, on the off chance that we get back specifically the, and we'll take the Custody Lich. Unis Prowler? Okay. Bitter Blossom's what we're looking for. Was this the pack with it? Don't think we can play the Mutavault. I don't really think Skyclave Shade's what we're doing. Opposition? Could that be enough? No way. Unless we literally get back exactly... no. Yeah, okay. I think this deck is interesting. We have a lot of good discard outlets. I think we're pulling out the Cryptbreaker now. I don't think it's good enough as is. Our mana doesn't look completely awful. We do have the Xander's Lounge, Misty, and Darkslick Shores as 3 of each source. We're never hardcasting the Terastodon or the Woodfall Primus unless we get some kind of crazy game where we end up with enough mana and a Black Lotus. $30. So we take these 4 away. We're at 26. Need to cut 3 cards. Crypt Breaker comes out. Unis Prowler stays in. Satoru? Is Satoru enough? I think so. Like, if we can ninjutsu in, like a Consecrated Sphinx or, like, God forbid, a Terastodon or a Woodfall Primus, that's pretty good. And returning some of these creatures back is actually pretty nice for us. Like returning Sower, if we end up not needing the creature, or it gets killed, or we put it in harm's way or something. Returning Murderous Rider seems like it's pretty good. Returning Shriekmaw also. Yeah, I just think the lines of play with Satoru are actually kind of interesting. Now what? Well, we're not taking out the Reanimate or the Exhume. Can't take out the Bone Shards, or maybe the Bloodchief's Thirst. Maybe that's just a little bit too low, small, bad. We already have Bone Shards, Collective Brutality, Gilded Drake, Murderous Rider, Damnation, Shriekmaw, even Custody Lich to deal with aggression. We can bring it in if we need to. Just one more card. What is the worst card in our deck? Maybe it is the Satoru. I think we have enough discard and loot to make it worthwhile. Yeah, we'll add the basics and we'll run it just like this. We have one more blue source than black source thanks to the Sheldock Isle, so we add in one more swamp. Okay, save deck, play, and let's see how it goes. Now one problem is that we don't have a whole lot of turn 1 potential. We have Una's Prowler Reanimate, which we can do with the Black Lotus pretty easy. But we have to also have literally Black Lotus, Una's Prowler Reanimate, as well as a thing to pitch. I guess it also works if we have an untapped anything, if we draw Exhume. So the things we really need are the Black Lotus and the Una's Prowler. And then we have 2 of each, well 3 of each, almost. Like 2.5 of each, of the reanimation spell as well as the reanimation target. So I feel pretty good about this. I guess I'll see y'all in the first round. Alright, we have 1 hour die roll, we're 22 minutes in, and we will play first, because I think that's good for us. Turn 1 nothing, turn 2 Jace, and we have some stuff to do. I like this hand. Our opponent is Wooburg. We'll close up chat here. And why are our cards so small? Whatever. I know there's a way to increase it. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, our cards are like so tiny. What is happening? What is going on here? Oh, look at you. Misty friends. Noble Hierarch. Did we just Shriekmaw that? No, I don't think we do. Well, we do have the Murderous Rider to back it up. Yeah, I guess we do it. Yeah, I don't know. Feels kind of mid. Okay, Ketria Triome. Nothing else to do? That's fine with me. Now we'll play out a Chase. Play out a Sheldock. Ooh, well, you know, I'll just take a Terastodon. Just a cheeky little Terastodon for the late game. They have a turn here. Let's see what they can do with it. Devoted Druid. And an island. Okay. Well, the good news is we do have a Mana Leak here. And a Force of Negation? Well, we are going to loot here. I think we discard a swamp. Play out an island. Pass turn. They have 5 cards in hand. Well, they haven't missed a land drop. Courser of Crufix, huh? Well, I think we do counter it. Courser gets them some value, and if we can starve out their hand a little bit, we can start to really, like, push the aggression. What do we got? Sower. Yeah, we'll just pitch the sower. Yeah, I think we do just pitch the sower. Or do we just pitch Damnation? We'll pitch Damnation. Yeah. And we'll just give this thing -2, -0 until my next turn. Do we do this? They have 3 cards in hand. What are the odds that one of them is actually good? Don't know. But I do think passing the turn's fine here. We have the Swift End, as well as the Force of Negation. And next turn we can Collective Brutality. Anything that gets nailed with Collective Brutality also gets nailed by Force of Negation. So that's fine. Elder Gargaroth, huh? Yeah. Well, we are going to kill it. Ooh, we could also just take it? Is that good? Nah, I think we just kill it. There are ways that that goes terrible for us. We're definitely going to play the land. Now we can play out the Collective Brutality. Echo of Eons? What the fuck? Well, yeah, we'll take it. It's certainly interesting. Wow, yeah, I was not expecting that one. Question is, do they cast the Hydroid Crisis, or do they just do Echo of Eons? Because, to be honest, Echo of Eons is... Nope, Hydroid. Oh, Thran Dynamo? That's fine. Now they're gonna Echo? We just counter it? Yeah, I guess. Like, now they just have a Hydroid Crisis. We have a... Oh, they just concede the whole match? Wow, I guess they're really off it. Well, understandable. Counter spells are pretty annoying. But they did have a Hydroid Crisis. I mean, they were gonna cast that for a lot of mana next turn, draw some cards, gain some life, do a lot of stuff. But hey, you know, whatever. We'll take it. Paid actors, I guess. Didn't even need the Black Lotus that time? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I accept. Looks like my opponent's on the think about it plan. And we have a turn 1 coercive portal. Yeah, I guess we'll keep it. Admittedly, This is a bit fragile. They can just blow it up. There are definitely ways that this goes poorly for me. But we also have a Wrath in our deck. Adonto Vanguard does not interact with Coercive Portal. Smart of them to attack. It can't give protection to itself, so... Homage. Alright, Kaito makes a 1/1. We can also play out a Jace or a Dolthy Voidwalker. That's what we can actually do this turn. Yeah, I think what we do is play out the Voidwalker. Then we can play out the Kaito next turn, pitch the Terastodon to hand size. Not to hand size, to Kaito. Elite Spellbinder. Well, that's not very good for me. Yeah, I mean, we are drawing 2 cards a turn, that's the good news. But now they're going to make our Terastodon or our Jace or Kaito cost 1,000,000 mana. If they get rid of the Terastodon, it's just... okay, they don't. That's fine. They do know how Shadow works. Props to the opponent for understanding how to read cards. Homage. Mana Leak, Island. We're definitely drawing cards that are good. I think one of the ways that we win this game is countering a spell that's good enough and getting it with our Dolthy Voidwalker. Like if they untap in like Council's Judgment or something, we can definitely find a pathway to victory. Okay. They're thinking pretty hard about this one. They know that we drew something because we played out one of the cards we drew. They know about the Jace, the Misty, and the Swamp. They just don't know what the mystery card is. They probably think it's either a removal spell or a counter spell. That would make sense from their position. Combat time. Alright, leave that back. Smart. But that does actually just save me a damage. Flicker Wisp? Yeah, we are going to Mana Leak it. Okay. Homage. Play out a land. Does have a void counter on it. We do play this out. Do we just sack it now? we're going to play it. We'll exile the island. Make them fear a counterspell. Now we can block the elite spell. Now they're also insulated against a board wipe. Sorry, I messed up my pauses there. We played out the Flicker Wisp and the Chase. They got a Parallax Wave and blew us out pretty bad. We're gonna go to 3. Yeah. Alright, we drew Bone Shards Exhume. Unfortunately for us, we are dead in the air. Yeah, just a little slow. Sideboard is Bloodchief's Thirst. Satoru, which blocks on the ground pretty well. Kaito comes out for sure. Jace also seems a bit slow. Gilded Drake might not be very good. Crypt Breaker, not really. Sphinx. This dies. Yeah, I think we run it like this. Yeah, we would love to play first, and we have nothing. Okay, we'll mull. This is better. We have a Darkslick Shores, Inquisition, Gilded Drake, removal spell. We'll keep it. Put the Drake on the bottom. Turn 1 Shores, Inquisition. Flicker Wisp. Plains, Palace Jailer. Understandable. So we do need to get underneath that Palace Jailer as quick as possible. That's not good for us. Reanimate, huh? Play out the Misty past turn. Alright, there's that. What does Palace Jailer read? Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, we're just going to pay the life on their turn. It only gets creatures, so they can have a monarchy. Rin Wingmare, huh? Gonna go get the Xander's Lounge. A little unfortunate. What we wanted to do was interesting. Bone Shards, huh? Yeah, we're just gonna pass. Play the murder. What you got? Palace Jailer, huh? Okay, we're gonna cast Swift End on this. Alright. Now we can reanimate that and Voidwalker. You can also Voidwalker Well, we'll reanimate this. We'll get a... Do we bone shards? Do we sacrifice our Void Walker? No, we can't. Do we discard reanimate? No, they have the parallax wave. I think we do just reanimate the Flicker Wisp. Now we'll get the Vren Wingmare. Tough call, but I think that's okay. Now we do kind of get blown out by specifically Parallax Wave again. Council's Judgment, huh? Pretty unfortunate. They vote for Dolthy Voidwalker. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. No blocks? Alright, we're gonna be at 10. They're gonna cast a Giver. They're gonna draw a card. We draw a Terastodon, a little late to the party though. Now we can Bone Shards pitching Terastodon and play this, and attack them. Oh, we still have a Vren Wingmare. That's not very good. Yeah, so we're just gonna cast this. Now we'll just play trades with the Monarchy. Force of Negation. A little unfortunate because we can't do much with it right now. They're gonna give protection right now. Understandable. That means I don't have it for the Bone Shards on my turn. Fine by me. Now what do they have? Baneslayer Angel. Yeah, Baneslayer's good, but it still dies to removal. Oh wow, we also have that? Do we just blow it all up and take the Monarchy? We'll try it. I think that's the easiest way that we win this game. They're gonna block that. Interesting. Not really what I would have chose. I mean, they can't possibly know we have Damnation, right? We're gonna Bone Shards. Pitching Terastodon. Kill the Baneslayer. Pay 1 in the black. Terry D. End turn, draw a card. Right on time land, as always. Okay, attack both. Interesting. We are going to go to 5 here. Nothing. Okay, so the obvious things that I'm worried about are like Restoration Angel. Okay, now we're just going to do it. Bonk. What do you got? Nothing? Well, that doesn't seem very correct. Mother of Runes? Sure. Weird. Wasn't expecting that one. Yeah, we're just gonna play out a Consecrated Sphinx. What you got? We draw a card, Woodfall Primus. Not quite gonna do it yet. Yeah, we'd love to use it. Okay. So, what do we have? Relic Warder? That doesn't do anything. We do need to start drawing cards that can attack and block. And maybe stuff that can kill Mother of Runes, because we're in some serious danger here. 6 mana. Yeah. Sower? Yeah, we'll take a Sower. Yeah, do we attack? No. Just play the portal. Pass turn. Okay, so next turn we have Collective Brutality. Yes. Alright, Custody Lich also does it. They're just going to main phase do that, okay? We'll take 2. What do you got? Pass turn, huh? We do not draw here. No thanks. Alright. We will choose Homage. Exhume. Their graveyard's chock full of bullshit right now, so that's not very good. We're gonna play out a Black Source. Sower. I would love a Mother of Runes, please. Now a Custody Lich. Pass priority. Yeah, them. And I think we don't attack. Because that does leave us pretty fucked by specifically... Okay, yeah, sure. We'll discard the Woodfall Primus. Actually, at this point, we discard a basic island and another basic island. And we're going to choose not to draw. Okay. Homage. We're going to do a collective brutality with multiple modes. We're going to duress them and gain some life. Choose target opponent, choose target opponent, pay 1 and a black. We're going to pitch basic swamp. Resto. Fucking called it. Alrighty, we have Shriekmaw. That's a rough one. Yeah. We're gonna attack with these. The problem with the Shriekmaw, the Resto Angel? Wait, what does Resto say? It only says you control, right? Yeah, you control. We can just block. With that, and then we can Gilded Drake and then exhume, not exhume, Shriekmaw and kill the Gilded. Yeah, so I think we just pass like this. As much as that sucks. They can cast that. We'll discard Woodfall Primus. No draw. Lion Sash, huh? Yeah, I mean, I can't force of negation that, so I necessarily must let it go. Okay. Homage. Unfortunately, we draw the Black Lotus now. They already knew about it from the first game, so I can't imagine they forgot. Going to cast this for a single black. Going to cast a Shriekmaw the hard way. And that's the second game. Well, that was certainly interesting. Now what? Because I don't think this third game's going to be very easy either. That one was extremely hard fought and they had a very bad hand. And they even have interaction for like everything we do. Whew. Yeah, we need a lot of things to go right. That's the thing I'm noticing from the outset. I don't think Crypt Breaker does enough for us, so we're just gonna submit like this, see if we can grind out the victory. This hand does not do it. We're gonna maul. This hand has no lands. Pleasant. This hand has one land. Terrastodon. Oh god. Alright, whatever. I guess we're gonna keep 5. We're gonna pitch the portal and the rider. This is an awful plan. What you got? Well, you know what? Oh, we're gonna take the Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, what do they have here? Probably just the Odonto Vanguard. That's the Odonto. Understandable. Alright, we're gonna pitch the Custody Lich here to the Bone Shards. Discard card. We're gonna destroy that. Yeah, we do that. Discard a card. That. Get black. Do we just do the Terrastodon? I think we do. They're gonna pay 4. Okay. Next turn we can reanimate. Look, as much as I'd love to do Custody Lich, no idea what their hand looks like, but we know that they did just play one of those. Looks like they have 2 unknowns. History of Benalia, huh? Pretty rough. Destroy history. Oh wow. It's pretty good. That's for next turn though. For now we reanimate Terrastodon. One, 2, and our tapped land. Yes, please. So they're a little far away from Mother of Runes? Christ. It's pretty brutal. Rexian Revoker. Okay. Grizzlebrand? Yeah, not gonna lie, I wasn't planning on casting that one. Did he just attack all here? Like, I don't know how many other game plans we had here. Custody Lich would have been pretty bad against what they had going on. They are going to attack all, so we're just going to line up the best blocks we have, which is Terrastodon on a token, 3/3 on a 2/2, take 6 to 3, then hope that the Collector Brutality is enough. This here, this here. Ooh, well, that's pretty brutal. Yeah, we didn't draw the land, so we don't get to do any of that. We lose the game instead. Not really the best. Well, we fought hard. That's what counts. Last match. Hopefully this is a quick one. I do have to actually get out of here pretty quick. Okay, we got there, and we are taking the play. With a pretty okay hand. I like this. We'll keep it. Started off with turn 1 Inquisition. In slightly more fair formats, I think turn 2 Inquisition is fine, but we already have something we want to do on turn 2. And I don't think it's worth holding till we can play out the Voidwalker to do it. Mox Diamond, Channel, Witherbloom Command, Uro, Endurance. Okay. Oof. Yeah, I don't think they can Mox Diamond here. So do we just take the Witherbloom command? No, we just take the channel. Yeah, we'll take the channel. Channel gives them the biggest chance of doing busted things, and we don't really care about the Witherbloom, or the Endurance, or the Uro. So I'm not really concerned. One mystery card. Forest. Did they play out the Mox Diamond? They do play out the Mox Diamond. Interesting. What? Hangerback X1, huh? Fair enough, I guess. And they pitch the Nurturing Peatland. Okay. There's still definitely ways for them to make this game miserable for me, but not many of them in their hand. We know exactly what's in their hand. Are they pondering the Endurance? Or are they going to just cast an Uro and let it get exiled forever? Looks like they're going to do neither of those things. They're going to attack for one? That's an even worse... Oh, sure. That's even worse of a game plan. Ooh, Kaito's pretty good. We'll play this out. Play out the Una's Prowler. Pass turn. One blue away from using a sower. Okay, they're gonna Witherbloom command that. That's fine. And they're going to... I don't know, mill and try and get a land back, I guess? Sure. Oh. Oh, I mill 3? Sure. Consecrated Sphinx. Swamp Island, sure. Yeah, I'm not really afraid of what's happening over there right now. I mean, I know it could go bad for me at any time, but... That's a good one. Yeah. So we know they have one mystery card, Endurance Uro. Or we just play out the Kaito and draw a card. Sure. Okay, works for me. Already played a land out, past turn. Now they'll just hard cast an Endurance, okay. Fine by me. It's on the bottom of my library, right? They're gonna exile a card, okay. Can never get that land back. They're gonna attack? Yeah, they are. Do we just take it now? So there's two unknowns in their hand. They're gonna play a land. Draw a card now. Terrastodon. Okay. Yeah. I'd love to. Okay. We'll attack for 3. They'll go to 11. Already played a land. And we still have the Dolthy Voidwalker on board. I've been very, very happy with Dolthy Voidwalker. It always feels like it's just doing work. They can do this. This is fine. Just gonna get exiled anyway. Forever. And that's the game. Alright, so Bloodchief's Thirst is good against a couple of the things they were doing. But really what we need more than anything is just counterspells. Looks like they're really trying to do broken stuff with Channel. And they do have a Mox. I think for now we just run it back like this. Looking pretty good so far though, so we'll see if we can keep it going. Luna's Prowler, Gilded Drake. Yeah, I think if they channel into something I can steal. Gilded Drake is one way to kind of cheat the system a little bit. Sure. Turn 1 nothing, fine by me. Shell Dog. We'll just put a cheeky little Shriek Maw under there. Okay, nice Ancestral, I guess. Go to 9. Undoubtedly they have something to do here. Channel? Okay. Really? Yeah, pretty surprised to see that. Yeah, we're just gonna cast a Nuna Sprawler. Do what you gotta do, buddy. Pitch to hand size and everything? Oh, maybe they realized they needed green mana. Really? Okay, well if the plan is just do nothing forever, like, I'm okay with that. We're just gonna play this out, go to attacks, beat in. If they give me infinite time to do what I want to do, eventually I will capitalize. Sure. Well, unfortunately for them, it doesn't really work if I steal it. And I am going to steal it this turn. We'll attack for 3 first, because we're not getting in after that. Then we'll play it out. Gilded Drake. Yoink. Thank you. Unfortunately, we have drawn exactly Woodfall and Terastodon. So that's just a 3-3 we stole in exchange for another 3-3. Not the best, but you know, you can't always draw the way you want to. Sometimes you draw literally every expensive card in your deck. I don't really know what my opponent's doing over there, but eventually they will start casting very large and impactful spells. Witherbloom Command, huh? We take the time to discard? No. We just let it go. Well, that's, not good. Okay, at least it goes away. Thank God. Looks like they have some kind of... Well, no, they have Channel. Maybe they don't have Shallow Grave. Yeah, we'll just go to our draw step now. Black Lotus, huh? What does that do? That casts Terastodon, doesn't it? That casts Woodfall Primus, which is arguably better. Or can cast a Consecrated Sphinx. Consecrated Sphinx we can play off of any land next turn. Go to combat first. Beats for 3. They will block. Fine by me. Cast this. 7, 8. Did we cast the Terastodon? Or did we cast the Woodfall? Hardcasty Terasti? Okay. We'll take a black source away from you. No, not my size. We'll go get basic swamp. Nope. Yeah, we'll just take a pass on doing that now. uh, Thankfully, Terastodon is very kind in the way that it's worded. What's this? Prime time? Gravy train? What do we got? Kogla? Ever-flowing chalice? Really? Well, somehow I feel like that's not going to be enough here. And then more? Oh, just cycle. Okay, sure. Well, I'm gonna play a Consecrated Sphinx now. And if that's not enough, I am going to be sad. Alright, we do get our 2 cards. We would love to draw those, thank you. There are definitely still ways we lose this game. Archon of Cruelty. Well, that's certainly a good one. We sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, discard a card and lose some life. Yeah. And, yeah, I'll discard the Woodfall. Pretty far away from doing anything for us now. He's followed up with Custody Lich. One, two, three, four. Sure. Target them. Please sacrifice a creature. Thank you. And we still can't quite Shelldock, although we're pretty close. Next turn we can. Ooh, Inquisition. We're definitely gonna cast the Inquisition next turn. We have a Sower of Temptation for whatever silly thing they try to play next. Frantic Search. Sure. They're gonna pitch an Emrakul and shuffle their graveyard back in again. The anti-mill strategy. Ooh, it's a question mark. This is definitely not an easy one for them, I suppose. They're taking about as much time as I have. Hangerback, Progenitus. Okay. Yeah, that must be what the Magus was gonna go get. Uh-oh, what's this? Is an Eldrazi? This is an Eldrazi. Holy shit. Phew. Well, it's not great. Unfortunately for them, we do get to take it. So it's not like they get to attack with it this turn or anything. Start out with Inquisition. Vampire Hexmage Uro, Ravenous Chupacabra, huh? Kind of rough, to be honest. We'll take the Vampire Hexmage, I guess. It's indestructible, isn't it? Yeah. Not great. Yeah, we'll take the Hexmage. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. I would love to. But we still get to draw a card off of being the Monarch. Pretty happy about that. Kaito? Okay. Maybe they forget that they have a Chupacabra. Well, the answer's no. They did not forget, sadly for me. We still do have outs. We have Reanimate, which can get us there. There's the Uro, so they have one mystery card in hand. Two mystery cards in hand. They cannot, however, get back the oh, well, see, I said something and then they got it back. Two mystery cards in hand now. One mystery card in hand. Coercive Portal. Well, as far as redraws go, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, did not get there. Looks like it's game 3 for us. We'll see if we finish this in a 2-1 fashion or 1-2 fashion. They didn't really have enough stuff to where I really feel like Bloodchief's Thirst is gonna get there. However, Satoru can sneak us in some stuff with surprising regularity. Kaito, on the other hand, looked kinda bad. So we'll try it like this. Last game of the day. Alright, we are on the play with Hand Disruption, Counterspell. Yeah, we'll keep it. Could be better, could be worse. Inquisition. Elvish Reclaimer, Mox Diamond, huh? We'll take the Elvish Reclaimer. Pass the turn. Not super duper happy about that. Okay, they're going to not cast the Mox. Well, Shriek Maw does actually kill Emrakul if they manage to get it out. So this turn we're just going to play the island and pass the turn. Interesting. I'd really like to draw land now. I don't know what they could be doing that I would want to counter. We're just going to play out the Satoru. Pass the turn. Mox Diamond. Okay. I did pitch a forest, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not really worried about that. Xander's Lounge a little bit late. Alright. Looks like... Spent a couple minutes doing something real quick. Sad to have to do it in the middle of a game, but that's how it goes sometimes. Dark Depths. Flying and indestructible. Not great. Okay, they're gonna do nothing. So we're just going to play out a Coercive Portal. If they want to start removing ice counters, that's fine with me. Endurance? Sure. No mind. So we can Shriek Maw if they find a way to sneak in the Emrakul. What's this? Natural order, huh? Yeah, the one turn we don't really have it available. And we don't have a blue card. Well, now we have exactly one draw that destroys it all. Homage, please. And we don't draw it, unfortunately. So I think we necessarily need to kill the Ravenous Chupacabra now. Protection from everything, huh? Yeah... This only kills non-black creatures. Discard this island. Fast turn, now holding up the counterspell. Pretty unfortunate to not have the blue card. But I don't think the answer is, like, just pass turn and take more damage. Just seemed like a bad plan. Peatland, okay. We need something here. We really do. They can also vote Carnage, which would also do it. They do not. Well, that's pretty unfortunate. Things shook out pretty bad for me here. Looks like the old 1-2 for me. Yeah, I'm not going to insult my opponent's intelligence by trying to make them skip their combat step or something. Sometimes just draw 4 nothings in a row. What can we do now? I guess we just wrap up. Well, thank you for watching. This has been an interesting draft. Did not draw the Black Lotus nearly as much as I wanted to, but I don't think I start pitching good hands to look for it. I think you just, hope you draw it like any other card. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Robot Rallis. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. Have a wonderful day.